Exactly.
So first of all, I'd like to hear, from your standpoint and your journey, when was the height of your journey of discovering your Judaism and going all in and becoming an Orthodox practicing?
I guess the ultimate part of my journey was I went to the Kabbalah Center in Los Angeles, and the ideas that I learned there really just kind of like opened me up to a new reality. And that new reality just led me on a path, and eventually I went through an Orthodox conversion, in Los Angeles, and then eventually I wanted to, really learn more and become empowered, so I came to Israel to come to yeshiva, and I've been learning for the last several years, and this year I became a rabbi.
Congratulations, What an amazing journey. So, listen, we've done a lot on this topic. We've spoken to the guys in Dimona, and I think there is a lot of historical evidence to the possibility that many African Americans today are descendants of Jews from the Holy Land, even from the First Temple, Second Temple, and whatnot. What do you have to say about now the growing interest in African Americans trying to identify with Israel in one way or another, just overall in the macro spiritual component of it, as myself, a fellow student of Kabbalah?
Oh, wow. So, I think it's an amazing opportunity. And I think this is an opportunity where we can, I think during the 60s, during the Martin Luther King era, there was a very close relationship between Jews and African Americans. And I think, over time, it's been somewhat of a separation. And so I think now, God has created a context where we could re-talk together, and not just from the standpoint of a political standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint, and connecting the fact that there's many Igbo Jews that are in Nigeria, and many of those people were part of the transatlantic slave trade, and there's always been a tradition in African American culture that we're connected to the Bible.
As opposed to it being anti-Sikh, but actually finding a way to come together and really try to get to the roots of these stories and these possibilities.
Well, I think, we're in a very strong position, being one connected to the Torah. And I remember my journey when I was first going on the path of eventually becoming Jewish, that I also felt that frustration and knowing that there was more and not feeling like I was a part of it. I grew up with a lot of materialism and had a lot of success in my professional career, but there was still more that I wanted there. And so I think, us being able to communicate from understanding his frustration, and not just tell many people in the United States, but specifically in African American culture, have kind of like reached their edge with, the church, and even ideas even in Islam, they're looking for something new.
Of that feeling like that everything is the Jewish people's fault. Like, do you know where that stems from? That's
definitely a trope that's been going on for centuries. And it's been going on, it's been a tool that the people in power have always used Jews as a scapegoat. I mean, even in the Torah, in the book of Shemos, it talks about how the new Pharaoh came in and he didn't know Yosef, and he rallies all the people in Egypt to believe that the Jews are becoming numerous and they're taking over, everything, and they may side with our enemies, and so we got to remove them out of power. That's in the book of Shemos. And so from that standpoint, this is biblical, that we've had this dilemma in many societies throughout the ages. I think there needs to be a new curriculum that allows people who may not be interested in converting, but have a clear, comprehensive understanding of what the Torah teaches and how it connects to them and how it benefits them, whether it's connecting them to the 7 laws of Noah, or actually providing a path for them to go through a transformational process,
All praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this truth, and shalom to the elect. Anyway, I was actually looking for the video. I don't know where it is now, but here is a guy, and I'm going to speak kind of in codes because of this particular video, although I'm going to read a few comments and it has nothing but, dislike for us, okay? So anyway, this rabbi, I'll say that, he converted to Judaism, and he believes now, since he's converted, that he's official. Now the question, well, the problem is, if he is by blood an Israelite, you're already there. How do you convert? Is coming out of false doctrine and convert to the righteous way. Now, if you convert, and this is another thing, a lot of them don't believe in the Messiah. So they figured when they gave us Jesus the Christ, and this is how we know that he exists, Yahushua exists, because they had to cover up something that already existed. So not only did they cover up his image or whiten his image, but they also gave him, they changed the name, which we shouldn't be calling on Christ either. So you can see that the Lord allowed this separation, allowed this to happen. Now they also said that in the 60s we had a closeness or whatever, especially when there's a people who come to you and guile and try to say, well, we're just like you. Well, when you are oppressed, naturally, people who are over you can always say, bring peace, love, and happiness. If you notice that, every time we're, when you're dealing with oppression and we're the people on the bottom, do you notice that the people that's on the top is the one that's always crying for peace, that we must love and learn to unite? But the actions doesn't show that. And the actions doesn't show when you go in every community of the so-called black community. You don't have any of us owning anything there. And then they'll say, well, it's because you're not sticking together. Well, if you've been split apart and broke up and brought on slave ships and destroyed, how the hell are you supposed to get together with no generational wealth? But anyway, that's another video. But this woman acknowledged that some of them, most of us, and we got to say a small remnant of them are biblical bloodline, right? So this is crazy. So we're going to go in the book of Jeremiah 16, which a lot of you Israelites, you quoted wrong, right? And then we're going to prove that. And then we're going to read a couple of comments, and that's it. And then we're going to prove out of the comments who the real biblical Israelites are. Okay, this is Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, things wherein there is no profit. Now this word Gentile, right, as a lot of us Hebrew Israelites in certain groups will go into the New Testament and say Gentiles just strictly means Israelites. But in some cases, no, like I believe John 7, shall we go to the Gentiles and they're dispersed amongst the Gentiles, right? I believe so, right? I think that says that. But then in the Old Testament, there were Gentiles, which is neither Hebrew nor Greek. Remember, the Bible was pretty much Latin. St. Jerome and various others, you had different Vulgates, and in the translations out of that. So here you have a word which is a homeograph or homophone, I believe, words that spell the same but different in meaning. So now we got to go to the precepts. Jeremiah 16 and 9, O Lord, my strength, my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction, the Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies. Now that was the thing where we would say that the other nations will say, hey, we inherited lies. Well, when you speak of the fathers, right, our fathers, the Bible was for the Israelites anyway, right? And we're going to prove that. I mean, you should know that if you're an Israelite. But Psalms 18 and 1, it says, to the chief musician, the Psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, who spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day of the Lord, delivered him from the hand of all his enemies, right, and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength, right? This is an actual precept. So we know this is talking about the Israelites, right? We go to 2 Peter 3 and 4. It says, and saying, where is the promise of the coming of the Messiah? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of creation. Remember, our people were lost. And now this is another point that proves that we still must follow the guidelines of what the Lord set up. We can't follow the whole law, but this proves that we must continue in the path. So the Gentiles in Jeremiah 16 were Israelite foreigners who lost their way. Let's go to Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 and 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. And the strangers will be joined with them. A lot of Israelite groups think, that that's other nations that's going to be joined. Now, when you look up the word join, it means to be united in one cause. You just got to look at the text. Look up the words. It tells you to be united together under one in unity. How the hell are you going to be united in unity if you're supposed to be over them? And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, right? And then it goes on to say, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, right? That's why when you read it and then the comma comes or the sentence ends, it picks back up. And it goes on to say, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord, right? So this proves, let me say this again, this proves that they call it a holy land. There's nothing holy. Not right now. So it's defiled, and it is what it is. It's not a holy land. It will be. It was once. This was the greatest trickery on the face of the planet, and they did it on different levels with the white Jesus, the white apostles, right? I mean, this had to be done in the manner of slavery, right? So people could set themselves up on high. You can online etymology that J word, by the way, with the ISH on the end. You'll see what it says. Just look it up for yourself. Online etymology, they tell you that. So they even know it. But for whatever reason, let's go to a couple of comments. I just kind of want to stick on topic with this guy who decides that he's converted, and now they are admitting that this must be the case. And my problem again, if this woman sat there and admitted that we should have ties and we are part, why is everybody that's claiming to be that and the heads of it look all the same? And what happened to the other tribes? Not the ones they claim they bringing in, to claim that they found the lost ones. No. So even if that's the case, and these people admit that the transatlantic slave trade, they were of the Holy Land and the people as well, why don't you see us over there? And where they're staying at, you look it up and find out where they got those jakes posted up at. You see how it goes? Now that the truth is out, you're going to admit it now? Anyway, now it's okay. Just like the white Jesus. We've been following that white Jesus forever. And now the truth is out, well, their skin color doesn't matter anyway. Anyway, this is by Richard Marathi. It says, the growing interest of you African Americans trying to identify with Israel, with a question mark, and showing a clip of Africans picking up watermelons. Come on now. This is what they do. African Americans are ethnic sub-Saharans. This is by Cool Hand Luke Skywalker. Some of these are probably Jake's leaving these comments too, right? But who knows? African Americans are ethnic sub-Saharans, right? They are Bantu expansion tribes that's purely Gentile, who is the host trying to fool, right? So it's amazing how they label us and place us somewhere. I mean, number one, they said we were Africans, and by no way are we Africans. And when you move borders, as Habakkuk 2 say, you place a people in a place, or they go to a place where other people are like them or look like them or whatever the case. Now let me just say the dispersion, right? Because you had us up in Europe too. There's plenty of history on that. Russian icons, we was in Russia, we was all over, but for whatever reason, we only linked to Africa and sub-Saharan. So all the black people down in sub-Saharan Africa, when the land, the Holy Land, and these lands is right there in the so-called Middle East. You see how crazy that sounds? Yeah. Look at your Geico caveman and you tell me where he come from. Okay? So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28:64. Your fathers have inherited lies. That's just where the Spirit is going on this video. It says, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from one end of the earth even to the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Now, and again, according to doctrine, according to what we see, when are those people who claim to be who they are been scattered all across the globe, from one end of the globe even to the other, and serving other gods? Somebody got to show me that. And this Jake could be brought out Exodus 2 and made the example. But the Pharaoh, and he said, let's put an end to to them because they might join with the enemies, right, and come against them. Well, what do you think they're doing to us? Why is there such a big outcry for us saying who the hell we are and what we believe we are? You mean a country that's full of freedom, we can't stand and say what we believe and who we are and our heritage? We haven't harmed nobody. We haven't hurt anybody. Now, the biggest anti-Shem, let me say that we see going on is what you see in the rap music, right? The producers and the people who run it, and everything else come with it that I'm probably not going to say in this video, but you get the point. It's crazy. So the children of Israel, right, will be serving other gods, which means if they're going to be serving other gods, wouldn't they look or kind of have characteristics of looking like all different nations? And a big portion border here on this transatlantic slave trade? Why aren't we there? Right? And then when you go there, you have to do what? You have to convert. Who says that they have the right to make you convert? We had some come to our camp and say that. Well, you got to convert if you want to be one. This is Acts 2. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua. So, how are you going to convert and you don't even believe in the Messiah? Right? So that's all confusion. For the remissions of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. And that's why they decided to separate it and make that separation, because they know that the children of Israel, right, the true worshipers is going to worship the Messiah. And then you got these Christians who say, well, y'all can't be the people of God because the people of God don't worship the Messiah. Y'all do. And in reality, we don't. We're still worshiping other gods, as we just read in Deuteronomy 28:64. Jesus the Christ, who said, I've come to do away with all the laws, is the worship of another God. That is not the worship of the true Messiah, Yahushua. Right? And it says, and to all, it says, unto you, right? The promise is unto you and your children, and to all that are far off, even as many as the Lord our God shall call. So that tells you, surely our fathers have inherited lies. The Gentiles shall come and say our fathers have inherited lies, right? It's our fathers. We fell away, right? So it was another comment, but saying that they're all white. Let's go to here, Matthew 10:6. Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. There we go. The children of Israel will be scattered and lost. Why aren't they looking for the children of Israel? Why aren't they saying, well, wait a minute, the children of Israel has been scattered in all lands and all places? because they don't want you to. They want to remain in that sector, so to speak, and keep you blind. And they understand that the real children of Israel is not going to just worship another God, or let me say they're not even worshiping the true God, but we're going to follow Yahushua. Now you got some Old Testament Israelites who's saying that we shouldn't follow Yahushua. Well, why ain't they flying over there and converting then? But you see those cowards sit on their ass and they won't say or do nothing. So let's go to the book of Numbers, right? Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, because they said, I bring this out a lot, they said the Israelites are white. See, we're the only one people are not allowed to say that. The comment is on there, nobody says anything. Yeah, but we know the Israelites primarily have complexion, but you're going to have a lot of who's going to have other complexions and look like other nations. We know that, especially us at Great Millstone. We teach that. It said, Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned my wrath away from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them. I consume not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Now, when we look up Phinehas, what does it mean? All you scoffers, other Israelite scoffers who don't believe, we're not talking about One West. Look it up. It means the mouth of brass. On the Oxford Dictionary, right, of 1897. 1897, Eastern's Dictionary, Bible Dictionary of 1897. I wonder where that dictionary is now, right? This is what it says. Phinehas, the mouth of brass. And did you know, as I did research, they got other, I believe it was Obed, out of the line of David, was called the pillars of brass. And when you looked it up, same thing. This is what it says, mouth of brass. Of old Egypt, the Negro. Right? Egyptian Negro, Nubian. This is what it says. So there's no doubt that the Israelites were so-called black. But the reason why the color was mentioned in certain instances, because of famine, because of hardships, or maybe because they look good. You know, like a day a Jake would call himself, you had Jake with nicknames that call themselves black. Hey, what's up, black? You know what I'm saying? That's why Yahushua was mentioned the way he was, because the beautiful complexion that he had. Right? Just as Solomon. He had a dark, beautiful complexion. Hey, just like that word ruddy. That word came about from bloody. I actually looked that up. Well, they changed it to bloody, which means red. It was actually a healthy complexion. That's all ruddy meant. But they see that R-U-D on there in this language, they changed it to red. A guy named Hickengill or something, I can't remember his name, that's another video. And this is why Genesis 25 and 25, it says it first came out red all over like a hairy garment. It didn't say he came out ruddy. But in the text, in the definition, it says ruddy. You see how they messed up? But then when you go to David, he was ruddy with a fair complexion. Then they all of a sudden think it's red. When red is not a healthy complexion. Blood showing through the skin is not at all healthy. And a lot of people who are like that knows that. That's why they have to put suntan lotion on. Come on, man. We've broken through these false scholars who didn't want to admit Deuteronomy 28:68. You think they was going to admit that in 1800s? You really think they was going to say, you know what, these are the children of Israel. This makes sense. It wasn't until we woke up. Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.